Happy Wednesday evening. How is everyone? If you are catching this part on replay, you are probably, if you are catching this part, you're probably watching on replay. I'll get it right, maybe. If you can hashtag replay in the comments, that would be amazing. Or you can come on and just comment as if you are live. Hi Linda, how are you tonight? Welcome. We're gonna do something I haven't done for a while. Hey Cheryl, welcome. How are you doing tonight? Come on in. And thanks so much for sprinkling, I appreciate it. How did your day go by? Sorry. My mouth, throat always gets dry when I start talking. You guys have a good day. Welcome to tonight. Like I said, we're going to do some resin projects. So thanks for hopping on. Thank you, Cheryl, for the stars. I appreciate that. Does anybody have any idea what these are for? Hi, Debbie. How are you? If you guys wouldn't mind smashing some of these as you come on, I would so appreciate it. It just helps wake up Facebook, lets them know we're here. Hi Tracy, how are you doing tonight? It was a beautiful day in South Louisiana, Cheryl. That's good. Yeah, it was pretty nice in Colorado too. Although I think we do have a storm coming in starting tomorrow. Hi Devana. Aw, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for hopping on. I know this is kind of late for some of you. They are molds, Cheryl, for sure. Thanks. Thanks for sprinkling. Welcome, guys. Okay. These are molds to make like notebook covers. So we're going to use these. Am I tired? Yeah, I don't know. You know, I still have a bit of a cough. I just can't seem to shake it. And I still haven't been sleeping the greatest, so yeah, a little tired. I just had my hair trimmed a couple days ago too, so that's always, you know, you have to get used to your hair being shorter again. So these are all notebook covers. They're different sizes. You can buy the paper inserts for them. So we're going to do some of these. We're also going to do some other things, not just these. So we're just going to resin up some things tonight. We're going to use different kinds of accessories in these. I have some crushed glass. I have some pigment colors that we can use. I have dried and paper flowers. I also have some bookmark molds and some stickers. So we're just gonna have fun. You too, Devana. Yeah, from everybody that seems to have had whatever this thing is, you know, that seems to be going around, at least here in Colorado. It seems like the cough has really been lingering for quite a while. So hi Sissy Summerfield, how are you tonight? If you guys wouldn't mind sprinkling this out, or like I said, smashing some hearts, or just commenting, all of those things definitely help get this out. Hopefully Facebook will start sprinkling it out there. So, thank you, Tracy. Yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I also have a tray mold and a butcher block mold and some things that I've had. I did just get these notebook covers, but I've been wanting to resin. I just haven't made the time, I guess, would be the right thing to say. So I love these like plastic cups that you can get to resin with. They do have measurements on the side. Hopefully you can see that. I did get these off of Amazon, and if you guys want the link for that, I can give that to you too. Hi, Choose Joy Crafts and Creations. How are you doing tonight? Thanks for hopping on. So we're going to do a full cup of resin. See how far that gets us. We may be making more later. Hi, Kingdom Acres. How are you tonight? So we're starting with resin A, part A. We're going to pour a half a cup in here. I had some other resin, so this is how long it's been. I had gotten one set, I think, for last Christmas, and then I don't remember when I got this set. But the other set I had, thankfully it wasn't as much as this one, had yellowed. So I was like, well, that was obviously not great resin anyway. So you want to make sure if you buy resin, you look for the ones that say that they're non-yellowing. You want the ones that are the least odor. That, you know, a lot of them say it. Some are definitely better than others. And this is not quick set resin, so you have a bit of time to work with it. And both of them are good, you know, for different things. I haven't actually worked with the quick set resin. I've only used this kind. If I can get the lid back on there. That's always a challenge, right? Hi, Michelle. How are you tonight? So then I'm just going to get a craft stick, which is what I usually stir them with. We're going to stir for 3 minutes. And get it ready to pour. So I am stirring this. You guys let me know if you've done any resin and maybe what you've done. And I have these little cups I'm going to show you real quick that are kind of nice because you can just put a little resin in here and color, and that way you're not having to you know, color a lot of your resin. So I definitely suggest wearing gloves because it's hard to get the resin off your hands. You can use rubbing alcohol and stuff, and it will work pretty good, but the first couple of times I resined, I didn't really wear gloves or whatever, and it was a bit sticky for a while. You know how it is when you have glue or something on your hands and it sticks together and sticks to everything and it's not fun? Well, yeah. That's what the resin will be like. Hi, Sheila with Sweetie's Creation and Decor. Thanks for hopping on. So, yes, we are just stirring for 3 minutes with this resin. Resin is fairly pricey. You kind of want to watch for it to go on sale. I usually get mine through Amazon. But sometimes they do have some pretty good deals out there. Hi, Janice and Dawn. Welcome tonight. It's 8:45 in Colorado when I started anyway. I know for some of you it's much later than that. So Thanks for hopping on and being here. Hi, Terry. How are you doing tonight? This resin is kind of thick anyway. And like, I probably need to get this used up before, you know, something happens. Oh, thank you, Giovanna. I had fun with that. I think I need to take a picture of it with the background I had when I took the picture is lace, and all the daisies kind of blend into it. So, hi Virginia and Michelle, welcome. We are going to resin up some notebook covers. And the set that I got from Amazon did come with some of the things that you'll need to resin. So it did come with a set of craft sticks, and I'll show you guys that here in a second. I think we're about ready to start pouring. It also comes with the little rings that you will need to hold your paper on the inside. Of course, you're going to have to make two sides. So since we only have one side, one of each size, did I say that right? Like, I don't know why my son's calling me. He usually doesn't ever call me in the evenings, so it's a bit strange. It's always when you go live, right? Okay, I think we're ready. So I'm going to go ahead and just get the resin off the craft stick as best I can. And I'm just going to set this in this other little cup, measuring cup. So the first one I think that we're going to do, I'm just going to make it clear. So we're just going to put, and I did already clean these with like rubbing alcohol just in case there was something on here. So I'm just going to put a little layer of resin in here. I don't want it to be too thick yet. And then you can use your same craft stick and just kind of help spread that around. I just want a little bit of a layer under what I'm going to put in here, because I think that will work out better. A lot of times, you know, I just go ahead and put, if I'm doing a picture, let's say that I've decoupaged or something, I'll just go ahead and do that. And then whatever I'm putting on top of that decoupage picture, I do go ahead and do that. And then I pour the resin over the top. But this is a little bit different because I'm kind of wanting things sandwiched in between. So this is why I'm doing it this way tonight. And we'll do a colored one too, not just all clear. And I think I did say that this self-levels, so given time, it will self-level on you, for you. I think on this one, we're gonna put some flowers on it. I think we've got it spread out fairly well. I thought this would be so fun because I love journals anyway. And I was like, we could make our own, design our own, right? Now, this is the first time, so I'm going to go ahead and take these gloves off for a minute. My hands are getting very warm. Well, maybe. Okay. And I'm going to grab our flowers. And figure out something that I think it needs to be fairly flat. And I did get some flowers that came with some of my resin. And I also dried some of my own last year. Let's take a look at those real quick. Kind of want it to be just soft and pastel-y, I guess. This was a little sunflower that I tried. So that's kind of funny how much the petals shrunk on that one. And there's this daisy. And I just dried these in between paper towels in a book that was fairly heavy. I'm going to go ahead and dump some of them out so I can see them better. So I think I want to use these pretty little, I think they were like pansies. So I think we're going to use that. And for this one, I'm going to put them facing down. And we'll just kind of tap them in there in a minute too. So I've got a few of these. If you guys grow flowers, I want to do more drying of flowers, but I thought I would try it just to see which ones kind of were doing the best. I'll do that one. And then I have some blue, and we'll stick some of those in there. And my resin has kind of ran more this way, because obviously it must be leaning a little bit more that way. But when I add more, it will fill in the other parts too, so shouldn't be a problem. Now you are gonna have to let this cure, and I always like to let them cure about 24 hours. Now they will be set up before then, but you won't want to touch them, because if you do, it will kind of dull the resin if it's not all the way dry, and leave kind of a fingerprint on it. So make sure you give it enough time to dry all the way before you touch it at all. So I don't know if I want to put many more flowers on here than what we already have. I think that's kind of where I want to leave the flowers. We could add a couple of more white ones. Put that one over there just to kind of even things out a little more. All right, getting these back in here so I don't brush them onto the floor or something. I have a puppy who likes to come along and pick up anything and everything off the floor, right? So I think I'm going to take a craft stick and just kind of lift this edge up a little bit since it tends to be running that way. All right. Now I thought I would put a few of these lavender crushed glass in here. I don't know if I can get you guys to see these better. Let me put them in the lid. They're pretty tiny. There's those. And just kind of spread them out a bit. And I will just give a little bit of glisten, you know, in here. Probably going to add a little more resin right through here so I can add some of these to that too. I don't want it totally covered because again I'm just wanting this one to be kind of delicate and soft. And you have about, like I said, 25 to 30 minutes to be able to work with this resin, okay? So we do need to try to use it up within that time. It will get thicker as we're, you know, going along, but yeah, we don't want to wait too long. So now we're gonna go ahead and go back in here, and I'm gonna try to get some over in these areas that it just kind of ran away from. If I have to lift that other side up a little more, I will. And then I'm going to sprinkle a few more of our crushed glass. I feel like these would make really good Mother's Day gifts or birthday gifts, you know, for someone who likes to read or write. You could give it to them at any time. It's going to be filled with your blank pages so they can do whatever they want with it. So as you can see, we're just trying to go in here and fill up the places that aren't completely full. We do want to make sure that we do get our mold all the way full. We don't have any holes or places on the side where it isn't, because on these corners it's definitely not wanting to fill in as well. And then I do have a spot right here too. A fairly big spot actually, which is kind of weird. Okay, I think we're getting pretty close. I'm going to add a few more of these. Once your resin dries, you can just flake it off. These are like silicone mats and it comes right off of them. You can also put some wax paper underneath your projects. Whenever I do signs or boards or anything like that, I usually put something underneath them to hold them up so that when it's running off of it, it's not going to set in it and harden. So I think I'm going to add a few more flowers since they kind of all went together when it ran over. Hi, Christine. You have to be able to make adjustments, right? On some things you can glue down whatever you're gonna have on your surface to resin. So that helps too if you can do that. Thankfully I didn't use them all, right? I also have some tweezers. And with this set of notebook covers, it also came with some tweezers. So they did give you that. They gave you this little measuring cup and some little droppers that you can get your resin in certain places if you need to. And we're going to move some of those flowers back over. While we can do that, this is probably an easier way to put them in here anyway. So I don't want them all clumped up here. Plus I want to stick these down into the resin, you know, as much as I can. So I don't want that much, you know, setting on top of the resin. Sometimes you might have a little bit, but if I can keep from it, I want to have it all down in it. Just moving those over a little. Maybe I'll make this one a little bit more. Pull this a little bit more this way. Do you guys have any questions so far about anything that I've been doing? Hey Laurel, how are you tonight? It keeps wanting to come up to the top. Get down there. You might have to just maneuver some resin over on top of it to start getting it to sink down in there. I thought it would kind of go down on its own, but it really isn't. So we're going to put just some resin on those to get them down in there. Alright, I think I like how we've got them spread out now. I'm probably going to have to add a little more resin over here, so that might move again. Hopefully not. You haven't ever tried resin, Laurel? Yeah, I was very intimidated to try it for the first time, and that's been a few years, probably at least 2 or 3. But now I really do like working with it. You never know, you know, sometimes I always go back to this one major flop I had. I did this gnome picture, Christmas picture, and I used this red crushed glass, and I don't remember where I got that from. I think it was Michael's, and I got it all done. It looked good, you know, and I was letting it set, and after I finish it, I usually always go back and, you know, in a little bit and check it to see how it's doing, make sure everything looks okay, that, you know, the resin hasn't ran all over to one side or, you know, made a hole somewhere. And when I went in there, it was like the red well, that's good, Devonna. Before when I went in there, the red had started bleeding from that crushed glass into my picture, and it was all white. So it was very apparent. Yes, there is food safe resin. In fact, I think most resin is food safe. At least what I've seen has been. Okay, we're adding a few more of those in because I felt like we just had some holes there. So, thank you, Shauna. So anyway, I had to literally scrape the resin away from where all the red glass was, where it had turned, red, and scrape it off the pitcher, and it was getting fairly set by that point. And so I got it all off as best that I can, as close to the edge of the gnome, where I had put the red glass, and I re-poured resin on it because I was like, this is ruined, I'm freaking out. And actually, I think I had a little bit more bleeding, but not bad, and I kind of scraped off that one little area and re-put resin. I was just working with it because I just thought the thing was going to be a total waste, and I got it to the point that I couldn't even tell where it had bled, and it was really bad. So if something, kind of messes up on you, don't, freak out and think the whole project's lost. If you can just scrape off part of it, and that's why I like, the resin that gives you a little time to work with it, you can usually save it. So I'm going to try to get any bubbles that I may have in here. I'm not seeing a lot, and this will kind of help move our resin around a little bit too. So I'm just using the heat tool on low, and we're just going to kind of go over the top and maybe push my resin this way, since I feel like there's a little more on this side than that. And like I said, eventually it does self-level. I mean, it's trying to do it all the time while you're working with it. So, hi Christine and Mary Lou, welcome tonight. We're using these molds that are actual like notebook or journal covers, and we're making some covers out of resin. And we've used some dried flowers and some crushed glass so far to do that. And then, once this dries, sets, and I take it out of the mold, I'm going to have to make the other side of our journal or notebook. So this is just side one. You are going to have to do 2 of these. All right. I think we're pretty good right now. So we're going to set this one out of the way for a minute, and we're going to work on a different one. So, because we still have some time, and I have some more resin. So why don't we color some for one of these other notebooks. So let's see what colors I have, and this is like mica powder. I have a pink, a yellow, a green, some blues, a purple, orange, brown, a few different colors of green. So what sounds good to you guys as far as a color for a cover for another journal or notebook, whatever you want to use it for? And I'm just gonna scoot this one as carefully as I can. Normally I would not be moving it over here to the side, and then I will not be moving it anymore after that. And if I have to put things back a little bit, I will. So this is our next size. I can measure these sizes if you guys want them to. Does anybody have any preference in colors? I'm going to dry this real quick since I wiped off some of that resin that had gotten on there. No preference in colors, you guys? All right. So I'm going to pour some of this into here. However much I think we might need. And I think that'll be plenty. We might have a little bit too much too. I have other molds if we need to get rid of some resin into something else. I can do that too. I have them setting out here. I have quite a few different molds now, so I'm trying to make sure I don't get this all over. I'm going to tap a little bit in there. Whoops. More than a little. I decided to go with yellow because it's springy and I don't know. I just did. Hi Susan, how are you tonight? So now we're going to stir that into here. Another thing you could do is put the clear resin in here and just kind of swirl it around. That would be really pretty too. This is a pretty yellow though. Okay. What should we use for this one? I think we'll use some stickers maybe. So again, I think I'm going to pour some resin in here. Do you guys like that color? I'm going to have to remember how much I poured in there for the back, right? Hi, Sonia with Sonia's She Shed Sensations. How are you doing tonight? I could also put these yellow flowers, but I don't know if we'd really see them, so. All right, I'm going to spread this out like I did with the last one. Try to get it into all our areas. Just to get it started, help it out on its self-leveling. Because as you know, we've been working with it a little bit for a little bit of time now. So it's going to be thicker. And so we want to get this in there so it can start setting up. All right, I think we can go ahead and start adding some things to it. I have these flowers. I'm wondering if I'm even going to be able to see them through that yellow. We will find out. They're just stickers from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put them in here. Again, right side down, and I'm going to take off the little sticker from the back though, because I don't want that to be showing on my other side. So let's take that off. And remember, we're going to push those down in there again. And I'm going to use some other colors other than yellow in here. You guys like the yellow? I used to never like yellow for anything, but I don't know, as I've gotten older, I like yellow more. So we've used dry flowers in one of our journal covers, and now we're using stickers on this one. And I am gonna come on at some point and show you guys how these have turned out. I have a blue one that's really pretty. I think we'll put in the middle. I didn't get that all off of there. I should have looked before I went to stick it down. I'll probably have to work with that. All right, and then I'm going to use another purple one up here, I think in this corner. Oh, I just got resin on my fingers, you guys. It's going to be sticky. Not the first time, right? I couldn't have got that off with gloves on though. There's no way. Okay, I think it's pretty good. Again, I'm going to put a craft stick on this one side because it's obviously my desk is not not level, so we're going to lift that one side up some. All right. I also thought, you know, you could definitely put some words in here if you wanted to. I don't think I'm going to on this one, but that is definitely a possibility. All right. I think that's enough flowers for this one. So we're going to see the difference between how our dried flowers look, how these, I got resin all over my tweezers. I don't think I can get it off of that. Good idea though. Yeah, not working. Versus the stickers. So I think that'll be interesting to find out how they look in comparison. So we're adding more resin in here. As you can see, it's turning a different color as it's drying because this new resin that we're sticking in here is a little bit brighter maybe. I am going to use my tweezers though to push these down a little more and put some resin on top of them, and we'll just kind of move this around. So the other one I was going to do, I don't know if we're going to have time for it, the smaller one, it's this size, tiny. What was I going to do with that one? No, I don't remember. I will probably have to put some of this yellow resin into a mold because I think we're going to have too much to do on our journal cover here. I don't know if you guys can tell, I have stuff setting in your way, right? I have a little bit of clear resin left that I've got to get used up. So I'm going to be pouring that into our little one. Hi Eva, how are you tonight? And can you guys see right here, maybe a little bit? And we'll decide what we're going to put in this one. I think I have enough to do it. Like I said, I need to do something with the rest of that yellow too. Hopefully we have enough to do it, or I might end up swirling some yellow in this one maybe. I don't know. No, hopefully we'll be good. Hi Jane. We are making journal covers, notebook covers, whatever you want to call them, out of resin, and we're adding different things to it. We added color to this one. The first one we did is clear, just clear resin with some dried flowers in there. This one we colored yellow, and we used some stickers in here, flower stickers, to see how that's gonna look. Okay, let's hit this one with the heat tool. Our resin is self-leveling in our little journal there. We're just trying to get out any bubbles, and it just helps move it around a little bit to help it self-level. So that's always a good thing. Okay, we are pretty much out of time, right? I'm trying to think of when I came on. So this little one, What would you like to see in it? Do you guys have any ideas before I get off? And then I will do that with it, and I will show these all to you as soon as they set up and I can show them to you. Any ideas for what you would like to see in that? What could we do beyond, you know, flowers or stickers? I did have some different kind of stickers I thought would be cute. Little wildlife stickers. It would be more for a child. Or these flowers were kind of cute. But we could add a different color to it. Some different dried flowers. I have these pretty mauve flowers in here. I could add some smaller ones maybe to it. I have other crushed glass. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And be sure, if you're not in the Craft Around the Clock group, you the link is in my description. You could do a small photo, yes. That would be really cute. So all you have to do is click that link, and that will take you to the Craft Around the Clock group. If you are already in there, all you have to do is refresh your page. I hope you guys like this idea. If you did, give me some of these. And thanks so much for joining me tonight. We'll be doing more of this in the coming future. I've got so many molds I want to do, and I have some jewelry ones and stuff. So thank you guys. If you have any more questions, just ask me in the comments and I'll check that later. I will come up with something for this and surprise you guys. But have a great night. Take care, everyone. Be blessed.